just tell me about your musical family.
Why don't you
When you
ask
start
questions and I
singing, huh?
answer? Why don't you
About
ask questions and I answer?
how do you when did you start singing? What was your influence? What was your musical? Are you from Nutbush? First of all, you are from Nutbush.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you call down there where Letnam live, Nutbush.
Wild Onion Ridge.
That's where
You're
I was
from
born.
Wild Onion Ridge.
That's where I was born. At
Okay.
that Sam Williams corner.
Okay.
And I've been singing. I've been trying to sing ever since I was like 4 or 5. Well, really before then, because when I went to school, I was singing. And Miss C.Y. Russell said she discovered me being a little girl in the first grade singing. And I've always tried to sing. And I remember singing in the devotions at school, when we could have devotions at school. And the stage would open up to all classes. And it was, all 8 classes would assemble on Mondays, and then we just have one class on one devotion during the week in our classroom. And I remember singing then when I was to be stood on a box to sing. And I remember singing at home after my other sisters and brothers grew up. We would sing as a group, a family group. My mother and me and my other 2 sisters. And my mother she played piano. And she would play songs for us to sing, but she had an organ that her dad had bought for her when she was a little girl. And that's what she would play. And we would always sit around and sing when I was a kid.
What type of songs?
There would be Christian songs. We sang them. She had a little red back book that she would get songs out of, and we would learn those songs and sing. And
your favorite?
Does Jesus Care? Was one of our favorite family songs that we sang.
So your influence came from gospel, spirituals?
Yeah, gospel and spiritual. But we had a Victrola in the house that we played. We had blues songs that they had on big records that we would listen to until I got up. I guess the Victrola got destroyed in moving from one place to another. Because I remember that real well.
What was your church, your influence?
My church was
with the music
was Elam. That's where I was baptized, got religion baptized at Elam. And I remember the first song I sang in the choir was I Couldn't Hear Nobody Pray.
Around the year?
Oh, I must have been 12, 13. And I sang, and it astonished everybody at church when I was at that, because none of the other children had sang like that back then. I might have not been that old, but I remember singing, and the choir was coming in behind me. I couldn't hear nobody pray.
Hey, I'm gonna go to my house.
Other instruments, I know Frank and they all could play horns and
Frank, And Martha plays piano some. And Martha plays piano and Frank plays the Frank plays all instruments. He not only plays horns. I don't know if he really can pick a guitar, but he can play a guitar. And Martha has a son that plays guitar, picks guitar real well. And when Frank started, when he was in high school, like back in the late 70s, no, late 60s, because he graduated in 68, I think, from high school. And he played, Daddy bought him a combination of instrument. He paid maybe $1,500 for it then, and it was a horn that he could play 5 instruments if he played that. When he went into high school and started playing, he bought him a trombone at first because he wanted to be in the band. But then he went from that to that instrument that Daddy paid a lot of money for. And when he played that, that's the reason he can play more than one horn, because he learned to play that one when he was in high school.
Did you know Bootsy?
Yeah, I know Bootsy. Bootsy used to play at picnics when we was when I was, like 5th and 6th grade at Flagg Grove. He would come over there, they would always have a picnic, they would have somebody kill a billy goat, and they'd have picnics at Flagg Grove School. That was back in the 50s, when she would have those picnics at Flagg Grove. Because we were living more like at Flagg Grove then, like at the end of San William Road up here then, back then. And we didn't, we were going right across there to Flagg Grove, because that was back when the water would get up there, and that levee would flood, and Daddy would have to take me to school on a horse, because he had this horse that he had adopted to us, and he would take that horse and ride us to school, go across that levee. Back then, that levee flooded up to where Anna Mae stayed in that house at, what was that, Ellis Stevens corner?
Joe Stevens?
Joe Stevens corner. His daddy was named Ellis
Oh.
Stevens.
Well, what do you know? What can you tell us about her?
Who?
Anna Mae.
Oh. Well, I went to school off and on with Anna Mae, because I went to school with her at Flagg Grove in grade school, and she and I used to do devotions together. I would sing songs, and she would lead songs. We would lead songs in the devotion. And then I went to school with her in Lauderdale County at the high school at the LHS. I went with her there. And we sang in something they called at the high school the Glee Club. And when I noticed anything, I was out of high school and she was gone. I didn't really know. You know, when they come out with a record, they told me Anna Mae was singing it, I was dumbfounded when I heard Tina Turner. So wait a minute, they got that wrong. Tina Turner, who is that? And they told me that it was Anna Mae. But she was a little bit younger than I am. seen her sister, Aline, was more my age. And I knew her, but I haven't really been close.
Who were the singers at Woodlawn that kind of stood out? Now I know Sewell Flagg. Do you remember him singing?
Yeah, he was a bass singer.
Some of the singers that you might remember?
Yeah, well, I remember a lot of them.
Or Elam, the singers?
Yeah, Mr. Oscar Brown was one of the singers at Elam. Mr. Oscar Brown, and who else?
And also any of those musicians, maybe any of the traveling musicians, did you get a chance to see any of those? Did you go to the Hole in Ripley? Cafes?
Yeah,
Did
by
you
the
visit
time
the cafes in Brownsville?
Not Brownsville, but by the time I went to Ripley cafes, they weren't having live bands down there.
Jukebox?
They had the jukeboxes, but I doubt if any of our local folk was on them, unless it was Tina Turner.
Well, out the traveling musicians.
I don't know.
You didn't see any.
No.
You weren't old enough for that.
No, I wasn't. I doubt if any of them ever done any of that down there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really, they might have done that on Labor Day, when they had get together.
What did you all plan for Labor Day every year? What did you
Now-
all do?
What do we do now?
And for how long have you been performing and being in the Labor Day parade? Your family, how long have you all been doing
We've done
that?
that for about, it might be, yeah, let's see, it might be 20 years now. We've done that for quite a few years. I know we've done it. I don't remember. Do you? Do you remember?
Been a lot of years, because that Labor Day parade was initiated by W.C. Handy,
Oh, years
and that
ago.
was way back in the early 1900s. And I know your family is a musical family, and you all have been participating as long as I know. As long as I can remember.
Well, you moved back here in '91, and we were doing it then.
Because I might have you on tape back then, because I had a different camera then.
We got them all on tape.
Mm.
But
As long as I can remember from the time
we,
that I
we-
know
we
that I
just-
moved here,
we just-
you were doing it.
I tell you what, we started it before '91 because I was still working, and I retired in '91. We must have started that like '85, because we really started getting together. Daddy got sick, you know, and we would, and I had this barbecue grill made, and I said, let's y'all for Labor Day go and have a picnic at Daddy's house, and that's how we started. We started picnicking at his house on Labor Day because he was sick. He had had surgery.
What did you do before then for Labor
We
Day?
didn't really do anything because, see,
You didn't go to Labor Day?
we would go to the park on Labor Day, but then, see, we kind of scattered because our mother passed away, and the children started getting grown, and they started leaving here.
Well, what did you do when you were young?
Oh, it was a big thing to get dressed and go to the park on Labor Day.
That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, that's what we would do. We would go to the park, and it was just a carnival for us to go to the park and meet classmates. And we would have a picture taking exercise on Labor Day. All my classmates would come back to town. A lot of them cousins and friends. We'd have get together because a lot of them would come back and they'd come back in those mobile homes and they would have their little picnic outside. And we would at the park, at Rice Park. Because see, I'm one of the ones that helped clean up Rice Park for when it was given to the black folk down there. I was one of the ones that would see why Russ would take us from school to the park to help clean up. We cleaned that park up when I was like 7th and 8th grade. Students would just go there and just clean up all that pool and all that. Yeah. We would go there and do that for free because we were doing it from school. Because all the schools was participating in doing it.
How long had you been in the choir, singing in the choir?
I've been singing I sang in Elam Choir before I was married. And I probably started singing in the choir when I was about 12, after I joined church. Got religion, joined church. I started singing in the choir then. 50 years.
Okay.
I've been doing all that singing. I've written one song.
You've written, oh yes.
I got one song that I done on tape.
You sing it a cappella?
Let me see. I believe I'll run for Jesus while I have this chance. Is that it? That ain't it. Yeah. Cut it off, cause I don't. Oh. Now cut it back off. I joined the Pearlettes. Oh, just a little before I retired from work. And that was organized by a former ensemble from Macedonia, Sarah Pearl Vascular. And I sang with them we sang about 10, 12 years. Singing until we were dissolved because we had an accident. And I sang with Sarah. It was 7 of us. Oh, it was 7 of us singing then. And we had a car accident and we were dissolved after that because one of our ladies was in the hospital for a long time and one died as a result of the accident. Oh, and but while we were singing, we done a recording. And the only song that I ever really wrote, I sang it on that recording. It's on tape that we got. That we all of us led one song on the tape. Tape has about 8 songs on it. And the tape it's in there. Oh, the name of the group. Oh, the name of our group was the Gospel Pearlettes.
And the name of the tape?
And the name of the tape is I'm Gonna Sing for Jesus.
And we're going to play a little bit of that right now.
Oh, okay. we had made preparation to go to the studio, and I just done that overnight. I hadn't come up with anything, all the other ladies had, and I come up with that overnight and sing for Jesus the rest of my life. And when we went to the studio, I think I'm leading about 3 songs on that. Hold on a little while longer, and nearer my God to thee. But that's one of